welcome to another episode of the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Miller. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And today I'm going to talk about something that is important for everyone, whether in recovery, focused on self-improvement, you name it. So this is about living in the here and now. And I keep having to swallow because I just ate some candy and it dried out my throat. So probably bad timing on my part. So I apologize. That daggone candy all the time. But before I do get into the topic of the here and now, I just wanted to give you my health update. And that is that I pulled the trigger on making a psychiatric appointment. So it is virtual, as are all the appointments out of this facility. And so when I called, they asked me a few questions about why, excuse me, it's the candy. Sorry, why I needed a psychiatric appointment. And I told her that I'm a recovering alcoholic. I told her that I had a stroke in 2021 and that my health has declined as of last year. I had to leave my job, and I'm just dealing with a lot of thoughts around my life shifting to being on disability. And then to top it off, I said I had a bit of a big piece of news last week that we have a new family member, and it was kind of I don't know, something that I'm also trying to work through. So I said I didn't know how much she wanted me to unload on you, and she did not laugh, but I said I can keep going or something, and she kind of laughed. So anyway, she paired me with, there's 20 different psychiatrists to choose from, so I guess they put me into the system, some of these challenges that I'm having, and they pair me with somebody who can address multiple challenges. So my challenges, the one that I got matched to focuses on mental health and substance use disorders, cognitive behavioral therapy, interpersonal therapy, trauma-focused therapy, mindfulness, and therapy for folks with disabilities. So it sounds perfect. And I'm excited to start talking about what's going on in my head. Really, I have this, I think, internal battle that I don't really talk about on the podcast because I don't know what to do with it, and it's a big downer. But what it is, it's important that I say it because there are lots of other stroke survivors that probably are challenged with the same thoughts. And that is that ever since I had my stroke, I feel like my life's about to end. I have not been able to shake this thought since, my stroke was 2 years ago. And at times I feel like I'm coming out of it, but it's still right there in front of me. It's not just my life. It's the fact that some people really close to me have passed away. So I feel like, is my time here also? I've always felt like, I'm going to live until I'm 100. And then I had the stroke, and now I just feel like it's going to happen any day now, because I just don't feel well all the time. So I feel like this is just my final decline or something. It's terrible. I should not be thinking like that. So it's time. It's time. It's been time. I'm long overdue to talk to a professional. So that's what I'm doing. So hopefully I can live by example. I think it's important to recognize when we need to actually go see a professional and talk about what's going on in our heads. Sure, I don't want to drink, I'm not excessively sleeping. All of these things that are linked medically to depression, but I have this big fat fear that just won't seem to go away. So I'm going to talk about that. So, as I explore today this need to focus on the present moment, it resonates so much deeper than that with me today. I want to talk about how to balance our past, present, and future to enrich our lives and find true purpose and joy. So, here we go. So, in our pursuit of a purpose, many of us struggle with this concept of living fully in the present moment. And I learned in my sobriety program to live one day at a time. I learn about not what ifing, like fast forwarding and trying to fast forwarding the tape and like completing the story 5 different ways. This is, if this happens, then this is what the outcome will be. If this happens, this is what the outcome will be. So that's what I mean by what ifing. I also learn in my sobriety program not regretting the past nor wishing to shut the door on it either. However, we do really see the whole picture of our lives, I think, by looking at a little more than just the here and now. Do we see the whole picture if we're always just living in the present and the here and now? So I did a bit of research today, and based on my mood for the day, this is how I translate what I learned today. So there's this idea that when we're not living in the present, that we are escaping from reality, that we're dwelling on things that happened in the past or things that don't exist anymore, or we are obsessing about the future and what hasn't happened yet. But what if sometimes not being just living in the present and the here and now actually enhances our life's meaning where we are now? So I found this pretty enlightening today as I compare it to this constant reminder in my program to live one day at a time, and feeling like every time I think of the past or every time I think of the future that I'm not practicing the program. And and that's not true. It's just not true. Like I can't slap myself on the wrist whenever I think of the past or what if in the future. But I think that there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. So, by looking at this today, it gave me a little bit of validation that it's okay for me to look back or to look forward. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as it's adding value to the present. So, reflecting on our past achievements and happy memories can be empowering. So, when I think about work, the place where I just left, and all that I accomplished, it reminds me that there are some things in life that are a mixed pot of experiences, meaning both good and bad. Like, my job was not all good, obviously. there was a lot of stress, right? There was underlying stress at work, and that drove me to improve faster, reach higher, and go further than what was in my job description. Exceed expectations was always my goal. While what that tells me now, if I look back at that, what it tells me now is that although my present might be challenging, my past can show me that my life has had meaningful, joyful, and massive growth that began as a challenge. And this is likely to happen again. I have some of these snapshot memories of my first week, my first month, my first year at that job, and feeling like I'm never going to meet anybody. I'm never going to make any friends. I'm never going to understand what all of this means. Like, it was so complex. And I just felt like I was never going to be what I would classify as successful there. I just didn't see how that would happen. It just seemed so challenging. But it did. And that reminds me that when I'm in the present and I'm feeling like it doesn't feel like things are ever going to get better, that they do. They have before, and they likely will again. So sometimes what we're experiencing in the present can feel overwhelming. I was thinking of it being compared to, hope this makes sense, but a mountain that's made of glass. And when you try to climb it, you just keep slipping right back down the side of the mountain to where you started. But when you take a step back and look at the mountain in the context of your whole life, you gain perspective. And that glass mountain, think about this, the glass mountain is actually the sharp edge of a diamond. And we start to see that that current challenge is just one part of a larger, more complex, beautiful life story. So thinking about the future can instill hope and motivate us to persevere. Our goals, I always try to have a goal a day. So our goals and hopes for what's to come play a significant role in giving my life purpose and direction today. So while it's important to acknowledge the value of the past and the future and how those can impact my perspective on today, I can't forget the power of just living in today, just putting those blinders on and sometimes just being right here. And that is mindfulness. So I've talked about mindfulness a lot. Mindfulness and grounding techniques anchor us to the here and now. And that, I think, is important when we need to manage anxiety, depression, fear, and any of these mental health challenges. So here are a couple mindfulness grounding, more so, techniques that I just wanted to one of them I've talked about in a previous episode, so I just wanted to bring that one up again. And then another one that I ran across today that I thought was good. So one of them was the 5 4 3 2 1 mindfulness technique. And this is about engaging your senses in the present moment. So this is the one where you identify 5 things that you can see in your surroundings, 4 things that you can feel, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. And it's super simple to do, um, but it really allows you to almost erase what's outside of the 4 walls that surround you and just really physically, not just in the here and now mentally, but physically, what is in the room around you. So I really like that one. And then another one that I ran across today was a 3-minute breathing space. So this reminds me of when I was at work and I had my Apple Watch, and I used to, for a period of time, had it on the breathing reminder. So it takes, I think it's 1 minute. So it reminds you to breathe for 1 minute. And I always felt like, most often I would do it in the bathroom, just saying TMI, but I would. And I felt like it wasn't enough time. I felt like 1 minute wasn't enough time. Like right when I started feeling like, it was over. So this is the 3-minute breathing space. So this is just start by acknowledging your thoughts and feelings, focus on your breath, and then finally expand your awareness to your surroundings. Same thing. So being aware of your physical surroundings. And I feel like 3 minutes might be a little more soothing. Of course, if 1 minute is, 3 minutes got to be 3 times better. So those are some helpful grounding techniques. And to be truly present, we need to satisfy our basic needs. And these are Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So we really can't focus on being present in our lives and appreciate where we are rather than where we need to be and what we need to do, unless we're taking care of those basic needs. So that's important to keep in mind. When I am not eating enough, I'm not sleeping enough, I'm not taking care of some of these basic needs, of course I'm not able to take care of some of those mental challenges and really be present in today. So I've been thinking about this one for, I don't know, several weeks now. It might even be a month. No, I'd say like 3 weeks. I've been thinking about this presence practices. Okay. So I wanted to share this with you. So these are 5 presence practices to help cultivate the habit of being present. So number 1 is have 1 goal per day. Now this is really aimed at somebody in stroke recovery, but it can help anyone, honestly. I really think sometimes we try to give ourselves way too many goals in the day, and then we're just overwhelmed. Out of the gate, if I wake up and I'm like, I need to finish this, I need to start this, I need to clean that, I need to bake this, I'm starting off right out of the gate stressed, especially if I'm at work. If I was still working, I always was going into work with 10 things I needed to finish in one day. And most likely nothing went my way, and I would barely finish, if anything, anything that was on my list of things. So having one goal per day, it may seem small, but it's actually very much a guaranteed reward for yourself. And that's, I think, what this is all about. So having one goal. The next is do 2 meditations. One goal, 2 meditations. So I do a meditation in the afternoon. I do a Calm app, the daily trip on the Calm app. And then in the evening before I go to bed, I do the daily Calm with Tamara Levitt. Okay, the next one is write 3 gratefuls, and that's part of our challenge this month. So hopefully you're still doing your gratefuls. So we have 1 goal, 2 meditations, 3 gratefuls. Next is perform 4 acts of kindness. And that might seem like a lot, but the reason why there's so many is because the acts of kindness they don't need to be some big, monumental gesture. It's like opening the door for somebody. It's picking up somebody's keys if they dropped them. It's smiling at somebody. These little micro acts of kindness are what I'm talking about. So we have 1 goal, 2 meditations, 3 gratefuls, 4 acts of kindness. And finally, identify 5 beautiful things. So all of this is in one day. And this is to bring you back into your day, into the moment, to remind yourself that today is the only day that you have, right? And the people that are around you are the people that you need to care for. And your thoughts that are consuming you today, take some time off from them by doing a not just 1, but 2 meditations. So I'll repeat those one more time. These are the 5 presence practices, 3 P's. Number 1, have 1 goal, do 2 meditations, write 3 gratefuls, perform 4 acts of kindness, and identify 5 beautiful things. And you are guaranteed to start cultivating a habit of being present in your daily life. So, in conclusion, living in the here and now isn't just about the presence. It's about finding a balance between our past experiences, what can we gain from them to help us in our present experience, what is going on right now, and our future aspirations. So we always have, our eye on the horizon. And by, I think, embracing this holistic view, we can find a greater understanding of our current challenges and continue on our complex road of recovery or self-improvement, whatever it is that you're aiming for today, while still seeing the beauty along the way. So it's not just this, trudging the road. It's about picking up the flowers as you go along. So thank you for joining me for today's episode, and I will talk to you tomorrow.